And maybe two. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the Real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a VeVe OMI update podcast. And we do have my co-host with me, Dr. Stuff. Everyone say hello to Dashi.
What's up, Dashi? What's up, fam? How you guys all doing?
We're doing well. Dashi will take, I think, his first plane ride on Sunday. It would have been $3,000 to ship him via UPS. So a plane ride is only going to be a couple $100. So that is going to be that's going to be much better. Anyway, more on that later. Right now we have a few things to go over. Just a general overview today. We're going to talk about results of D23, prices of collectibles both inside of VeVe and outside of VeVe, some Disney announcements, what to expect the second half of Q3, only NFT beta, and more. Dr. Stuff, you said you were degenning. What you degenning into?
Degen into and out of and now back into Elon Trump token. It's whatever. I doubled my money super quick, and yeah, it dropped significantly. Wait a sec, what's going on?
Because they didn't announce it yet, right? That was just a meme leading up to it.
Yeah, this is just a meme.
Okay.
Hold on. Did this? Yeah. Okay.
Because yeah, that comes on at 8. Can't wait.
Yeah, it comes on, and so hold on. What's going on? I'm just seeing if it's actually. Okay, it went through this time.
My lady friend sent me an image yesterday or today of Eric Trump saying, "Friends, beware of fake tokens. The only official Trump project has not yet been announced. You will hear it here first." I don't know if he meant that he was going to post that on X, or if he was going to announce it on the stream tonight with him. Did your Iron Man just move?
We'll have to watch a replay. I don't think so, bro.
So you want that back and let us know. Anyway, that'll be announced at 8. So we might have it here, we might not. I'll keep you all posted on that. So I guess right now, outside of the degens, let's take a look at the OMI token and see what that's been up to. Up about 1.4% today to 00042. The volume, we had a heck of a spike. I don't know where that came from. Let's see. We can look at that. 284,000 in volume, and that spike, I think, looking at the volume, was either going to be on MEXC or OKX. Yeah, that would be really interested to see where that came from. Most of the other places do not have a lot of volume, and I think most of the other places also have it just as ERC20. I think the only place you can get it on base right now is where? Just on Spacker or swapping?
Uniswap. Uniswap is where the liquidity pool is for OMI on base. Yeah. So yeah, look, I want to be very clear. Like that Elon Trump token it's just a meme token that someone made up because of the interview that's coming on tonight, right? And so Crypto Cosmo turned me on to it. And first of all, almost anything that touches Elon, in any way, I feel like there's at least some liquidity there, honestly. And so I was like, yeah, I'll risk it and throw some money in. And yeah, it did a 2.5x before I sold out of it, but then it dropped substantially. And so I'm like, I'm going to throw some of my profits back in, and Cosmo did the same thing. And so, yeah, whatever, we'll see. But it is not the official Trump token. There's nothing like that. It's not, they don't pretend to be the Trump token.
Yeah.
Anything. It's just degenning, and so whatever. It's funny because I'm playing with a lot smaller amounts than I do with my normal, what I'm throwing into bigger projects like OMI, and I'm not it's not thousands of dollars, right? It's hundreds of bucks, that I'm just throwing in, and we'll see. Just kind of play money and the adrenaline rush that you get from meme coins. I get why people do it, but yeah, super risky. I've definitely lost out on others too, but super fun. Yeah.
So there is I went to a Lindsey Sterling concert on Saturday, and that was amazing. Not just because I had a ton of drinks beforehand, but that's aside from the point. there was a Q&A that I got to go into, and she was just like in her getting ready outfit, and it was very intimate. There was like maybe like a couple dozen people there, so we were really close to her. Got to ask her two questions. One is what I have to do to get her on the podcast. She's like, just got a DM, and I was like, oh, all right. She's like, I know, like I imagine she gets probably thousands of messages a day, if not like close to 10,000 messages a day. So I will do that. The other thing was like, how much for a private show? And she said like, I'm not 100% sure. So off the top of her head, I guess she doesn't know. I am in contact with her booking agent, and I tried to get her for next New York for next October to play for the gold and silver VeVe logo people, the holders, and she's going to be on tour again next year. So we're probably going to do it early 2026. If we can get her when she's like in the city and we can piggyback on one of her tour dates, we can get that. But most likely early 2026, Lindsay Sterling will be performing for the gold and silver logo holders. That'll be I can't wait for that.
Look, man, I hope it happens for multiple reasons. First off, just because that would be dope as a gold and silver logo holder, but then also that would mean that OMI has done very, very well. So I like that on twofold at least, But that's awesome, man. You're so fun. You're so fun with stuff like that. Yeah, look, I mean, if OMI goes crazy, like I'll definitely be doing something as well. Nothing like that, mind you. But leading up to that, man, like I'm really excited. I bought some comics and things that I'm going to start trying to do a little bit of giveaways and give back to the fam.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, from New York, San Diego Comic-Con. I'm excited, man. Like, and shout out to Comics and Crypto, Sean from Comics and Crypto. He really helped me out. I had a ton of questions with him about getting things graded. Unfortunately, I'm super bummed on this, but because they were asking when you submit the comic for grading, they ask if you want to do a press, and it's like $10 per book, right? And I was like, I just barely, like, these are brand new. Like, why would I need to do a press? But I reached out to Sean, and he's like, he does it anyways because it kind of guarantees you the best grade. And so like you still might get like a 9.8, but let's say that you don't get a press. It might be a 9.6, but had you got a press, it would be a 9.8. Yeah. And so I'm just like, I'm learning about that, but we'll see. I'm excited to kind of get some of these comics back that I got graded. And another thing that I did that I'm really excited for, there was the very first Harry Potter NFT, and it dropped on Wax, right? Which I was like,
when did that happen?
Places to drop Harry Potter.
Yeah, when? Where?
Oh, this was like, I don't know, like 5 months ago or something.
Okay.
And what it was, like, so you go to drop.io, drop with 3 P's, I want to say, or 2 P's, something like that. But anyways, yeah, it's on the Wax blockchain, and what they would do is you would buy these packs, right?
Okay, I remember now.
Like a normal pack or like a super pack, right? And I landed the Harry Potter Legendary. What's up, Brain?
What's going on?
So I landed the Harry Potter Legendary, and I was like, well, that's it. Like, I'm getting all of the legendaries, right? Because then I also bought like so I have the whole set of NFTs of the Harry Potter collection, right? But they didn't sell out, or they weren't selling out super quick, and so then they just pulled the drop. So like
they burned it, or they?
Yeah, it's done. Like, yeah, like I don't know if you call it burning, but like you can't buy it anymore. And so it's actually like a super limited like edition, because the Harry Potter one was already limited.
Yeah.
If it sold completely out, but it didn't even sell completely out, and they normally they let it run for like 24 hours or something, and I think they cut it short at like 2 p.m. It was only open for like 2 hours or something crazy, and then they just cut it off. And so, anyways, I got all of that, the legendaries, and on Wax or on Drop, like this collaboration with Funko, if you get the legendary, you can then submit the token for a physical Funko. And so what I did, and Sean told me about this, is basically I took the box, like they sent me the packages. I didn't open even the box like that the packages were shipped in. And I took that to San Diego Comic-Con, and I had those graded, and basically what they become, like they note it as uncirculated, right? So
Oh.
if you directly from the shipping warehouse, uncirculated, I have the whole set of Funko NFT physical. So I'm really excited to get those gradings back whenever that happens. But super stoked for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, let me keep us posted about that, because even though they're on wax, which I don't know anyone who's super pumped to have anything on there, that is still the first ever on the blockchain, and you can't recreate that. You could have the first on a different chain, but again, the first ever on the blockchain that's really cool. Rain, thanks so much for joining.
What's up, everyone?
So we had a question from Wes here. We went over OMI a little bit, and I think we have like 284,000 in volume on the day so far. And Wes wondering, where's OMI's liquidity? I think that's a fair question, because you have other coins that just are complete meme coins, or coins that have a community with a fraction of the size that VeVe and OMI have, yet they have more liquidity. How do we go and just get people to trade? Is it the fact that, hey, there's this kind of rift between, like, well, there's ERC20, then there's on Base, there's stuff on GoChain, Polygon, and that's confusing? Or is it just lack of US exchanges or something else?
The lack of US exchange is not helping, right? And then people are a little bit gun shy because of exchanges. But the problem trying to be solved is like, oh, it has to do with comparison. Okay, so the meme coin narrative has been running, and people are going to find out the hard way that narratives don't run for forever, and then it turns around. And especially meme coins are super risky. Some meme coins have made money. Most have still done shit in the middle of a meme coin narrative. But then people are like, these meme coins with no value are running and added to all these exchanges. And they're right. They have no value, and they are added to exchanges because the risk of the SEC declaring them a security is infinitesimally low, because the meme coin project will say, there's no value to the token whatsoever. And the SEC will likely agree with them. So you can buy and sell something that has no value, and the team's trying to do nothing to really give it value, because the risk of it being deemed a security is much, much lower. When you have a substantive project, it's much harder. Like, it's counterintuitive. It should be the reverse. It should be that meme coins have a real hard time getting listed because there's no value there. But because the way the SEC is set up and how they've been enforcing it is created the reverse situation, that meaningful projects have a much, much harder time getting listed right now, and exchange wanting to take the risk of listing them. So, like, there's this perfect storm of things that have gone wrong for the OMI token that have a lot of people frustrated. And look, most people sell the bottom. They just do. And I can't change that. I can help a few people change their decisions so they don't do the emotional thing that most people do, which is sell the bottom. And I can help a small percentage understand that to buy low, you got to buy the bottom, not sell the bottom. And I can impact about this much of the people that are open. Like 100% of people, maybe you can impact like 5% intuitively get this. They just already know it. They've learned it through other life lessons, or they were born knowing it. Maybe you can impact a total of so an additional 10% can kind of come around and get it. But the truth is 85% of people are just going to do shitty in crypto amidst the best opportunity of their life, because they're going to do exactly the wrong things. They're going to chase into meme coins that have been running. And they're going to assume, because of recency bias, that because they have been going up, they're going to continue to go up. Now, there's a chance that meme coins have another run coming in as we get a massive amount of new people and new money coming in. And that will only be some of the meme coins that will run while that happens. And there will be some other new ones created that will run. Cool. And then it will fade, and they will lead the way down. When they flip around, a lot of that money will go into other narratives. I don't like betting on the meme coin narrative because it's much, much harder to tell what the winners in meme coins are going to be than any effing of the narratives. And so, you're really like throwing darts at a dartboard while blindfolded, and research doesn't help you. Now, I do have special set of circumstances where I could do much better than average investing in meme coins, because I've been invited to groups with other influencers that are like, hey, let's all pump this to our audience and and we'll get in and And I just refuse to be part of those groups. I refuse to do anything with them. I'm not going to use the natural advantage I would have that my audience would not be able to have. and dump on my audience. It just seems weird to me. So like, I get that other people do it. I'm not gonna make a moral judgment on them. I just don't want to be a part of it. I want to be able to invest in the same thing for the most part that my audience has a chance to invest in, and that we can use research to make better picks. And with that, like OMI, I just released a video why OMI is my number 2 pick out there for undervalued altcoins. And I had some people mad at me over it. They're like, why is it not number 1? You say it's the only one that you would go all in on. It's not your number 1 pick. And it's like, well, there's a difference between something you'd go all in on and massively undervalued. Yeah. And that OMI, if I was to go all in, it'd definitely be OMI, because I feel like the risk that it fails from here versus the potential return is higher. There's another one that I know that has higher potential return, but also has high risk. No effing way would I go all in on that one, even though it's my number 1 pick. Even though I love it, I think the chances are good. Just the chances aren't near as good as OMI. So if I was going to go all in on one token, it would be OMI. And at these prices, it's heaven. People want this problem fixed right now, and the OMI token needs to go up. I'm like, what are you thinking? Why are you not celebrating every day the prices are this low? Because they don't get it. Like, why are you not just accumulating more? Like, the run is still going to happen. It's going to come when it comes. In the meantime, why do you want the token price to go up? So it makes you feel better? Because if the token price goes up and goes 3x or 5x, then accumulating, you're just buying so much less with the same amount of money. No. So either you don't want to accumulate, which I think you're crazy if you don't want to accumulate more OMI at these prices, or you just want to feel better. Well, I don't care what my emotions are. Like, I try to set them aside and I try to make good intellectual decisions. So in the short term, I just want OMI cheap, and it's amazingly cheap. It's great. I bought another 35 million. Thank heavens. These prices are so effing amazing. Anyone complaining about them doesn't get the longer term picture. In order to be rich in crypto, it's as simple as buy low, sell high. Now, some people argue, oh no, it'll never go high again. Yeah, you're right. There's a chance. I'd give about a 2% chance it doesn't go high again. So you could be right. There's a 2% chance you're right. I would equate it as about a 98% chance that it goes massively higher from here. And that's the bet I'm taking.
Preach to the choir here.
In the meantime, go cheaper. Cool. Liquidity, I don't care. Stay low. I'm able to buy 35 million over a couple of days. It wasn't that big of a deal. Sure, I pumped the price a little bit, and then I would like cool off, and then I'd buy some more. And cool. Would it have been awesome if there's more liquidity? Yes. In the meantime, I want the price to be cheap for months more. Would I cry? No. You know, once I'm at $1 billion or so OMI, then I'll feel like, okay, I have a decent bag. But I'd probably get to $1 billion and still want to keep getting more. So,
yeah. Shoot for the moon, or shoot for the stars, land on the moon. So, Doc, there was a post by a guy named Andrew Forte. He's been in and out of the community, kind of keeping tabs on it whenever he can. It says NFT trading revenue was 92 million a year ago. This month, this month's revenue was 3 million in July. 27 to 2020 ICOs and 2021 to 2024 NFTs correlate perfectly. And he asked what I predict, and I took a look at the 3.4 million in volume, and they were Frogana's, SMB Gen 2, Node Monks, Bitcoin Puppets, and Runestone. And I've heard of 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, but none of these included anything to do with VeVe. I had gone and commented. I was like, hey, listen, there's $900,000 worth of VeVe NFTs that they sold just on the primary markets, just by themselves, not including all the stuff that they do on the secondary, which is often a bit more aggressive. And he was just like, well, are they on chain? So I gave him a video link to my collectibles video saying, hey, here's how you find them on Mutascan. And he didn't respond to that. But how do we go and we get, you're part of, I think you said 80 different projects. Yeah. How do we go and get people to pay attention to us the same way that they might pay attention to Frogana's or SMB Gen 2? Don't even know what those are, but they did 250,000.
You know, so I don't know those projects, honestly, but the Runestones and others are still kind of on Bitcoin, like Bitcoin, right? And through ordinals. Mm-hmm. And Bitcoin and ordinals still kind of has a narrative like that. That's all it is. And as much as it's so funny to me because people sit there and say, oh, like, what are you're going to say like the narrative. And I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to crypto. I've only been in it like about 3.5 years now. And I definitely see like narratives as a very major thing. We see meme coin narratives, we see AI narratives, we see gaming narratives, NFT narratives. Like it's all this narrative, and Bitcoin narrative and Bitcoin ordinals had this huge pump in January, where I even people like in the chat were just like, you know, if you're not, or like commenting on my posts and things, and they're like, if you're not talking about ordinals, you're not going to make it. Ordinals are down significantly from that time, right? Why? Because the narrative is slowly trending down. It's still there, and so there's still people in liquidity because they're degenning right now. But at some point, my investment thesis is that there will be people who it will turn from like the degenning into the projects with actual fundamentals, where fundamentals will be greater than pumpamentals. And right now I think pumpamentals are greater than fundamentals. Like that's just where it's at. And I've had to pivot, right? Like I said, before rain came on, I was degenning into a meme coin just because first of all, it's fun, but I'm not playing with any serious money. Like there's just no way. Like all my serious money is in projects with fundamentals. And that's because I think that at some point, when the narrative hits and the projects with fundamentals, like those are the things that really, really pump, right? And I mean, and again, that's my thesis and where I'm putting my money. But so how do we get people from there? Like, I don't think that we necessarily can, man. Like, honestly, we can talk about OMI till we're blue in the face. I think I see all of the OMI homies posting on people's tweets about OMI and stuff. And most of the time they get some visibility. And I love that. Because you go out there and most of the YouTubers truly, like, they know the OMI and VeVe community. They do. And they know how ardent of a fan base we are, right? But like they don't talk about it until the narrative hits. And whether that narrative is gaming and if I say gaming, that's if some of our NFTs get implemented into some sort of games. I mean, we got like the Tengoku, but that's the OMI token, right? Like we don't have any of our VeVe NFTs that are tied to any gaming, but I think it's a possibility. They could do those collaborations or a metaverse type narrative. That's another thing, or even just NFTs with digital collecting. And I don't think it'll be the NFT narrative. I think it will be called a digital collecting narrative. I think the NFTs in general are like have too big of a negative connotation now that like most of them will transition to like digital collecting or some sort of variation of that, but like not NFTs anymore. And so if any of those narratives, and it's an if, right? Someone's asking, like, do you think the NFT narrative will hit again or the digital collectible narrative? I do think, and this is how I think it'll come in. I actually think it'll come in through gaming. So even though VeVe doesn't have necessarily any NFTs tied to gaming, what will start to happen is there will be a project out there, whether it's Gunzilla, Cornucopias, Bloodlust, like Shrapnel, like there's a ton of different games out there, Web3 games, right? And I have no idea which one's gonna make it, but one of them will make it, and it'll only take one, right? Where people are playing the game, and then they get a message, and they're like, "Hey, you just achieved the diamond lightsaber, right? And oh, do you want to sell it on the marketplace for $50?" And they're like, "Wait, like what? You mean sell it? What marketplace? What are you talking about, right?" And then all of a sudden, like they're able to sell this NFT, not even knowing it was an NFT, right, for $50. And they're like, I just made $50 playing this game. They're going to tell all of their friends. It will spread like wildfire, but the game has to be fun. But once that happens, that's when I think gaming will pump. And then I think NFTs or these digital collectibles will also pump. And VeVe being a part of that narrative could absolutely do that. But whether it's that narrative or another, I really think, man, to bring in a huge number of people again to the project, it's going to be something like that, or it's going to be some sort of AR VR thing with your collectibles tied with Pokemon, right? Something like that would absolutely bring in the masses too. So anyways, that's my thought. What about you, Randy and Rain?
So I have a lot of questions on this, and I just talked about it. So go ahead, Randy.
No, I forget what I asked.
Well, what can we do to make, like, essentially the OMI narrative happen? What we as a community we can do and stuff.
For the NFT, yeah, like you said, I would say one of the ways is just to have celebrities come in and do it. Like last time, we were like all freaking out, like, oh, Rudy Gobert's in here. We have Justin Tanner, whatever his name is, from the LA Dodgers. Like we had so many people that were in the spaces and posting about it. Like, and that was fun, and that just got everyone hyped. And once you have one person do it, you have another that gets on the hype train. Kind of morphing this into another question. Anime Tales AI says, "You guys think VeVe Comics will revolutionize physical comic collecting?" And I think that would happen regardless if VeVe was around or not. I think VeVe's just helping it get there quicker. And I think that you have the differences. If you ever go on the VeVe Comics website, the actual just digital comics that are not collectibles, they're like $3.97 or $2.97. Like they're still there. And we don't know how much VeVe's making off of that, but it's got to be a ton. I mean, people that would have to drive 30 minutes to their local comic book store, people in the suburbs and kind of on the coast, they kind of forget that not everything is 6 minutes away from everyone. There's people in middle America, like real America, that they go to the grocery store like once a month, twice a month, because they don't live right around the block from it. So if it's a trip to go into your local comic book store and you have to do that every week or every a couple times a month in order to pick that up, you're not going to want to do that. Maybe you want to save a little bit of gas. And maybe, oh, hey, when I go there, I have to go in and get something to eat, and you wind up spending too much money. This way, it's so much easier. I think that at some point, one of these catalysts are going to hit, whether it's a metaverse thing, like you said, gaming, comics, and it won't hit at the same time. Even when collectibles hit, last time you had Superman run, you had Batman run, and it was a while before Golden Moments ran, and that'll happen again. Rain, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so comics is going digital, whether people realize it or not. In fact, collectibles are going digital. And so somebody asked earlier, what if NFTs don't run? Like, what their concern is, if the NFT narrative doesn't hit, will VeVe still hit? And I think it does. I imagine the NFT narrative is still going to hit, because NFTs are this idea of like, whether it's art, like, I don't know if Bored Ape Yacht Club is going to run again like it did before, probably, but I can't say I know. But this idea of digital collectibles are superior in many ways to physical collectibles. So whether or not NFTs have a narrative that runs this cycle, and they probably will, I still think VeVe collectibles run, like digital collectibles run. And this idea, VeVeFamBam, thank you so much for joining us. We were just talking about what can the OMI community, well, Randy had asked the question, what can the OMI community do to really help VeVe and like this thing catch on? And I was just answering that question with some deeper thoughts on it. But I wanted to just say hi real quick. But what can VeVe community do? What's funny is you can't stop this from happening, even if you want to. Even if your name is Cavell Anderson and you decide to shit on VeVe over and over again, you can't effing stop it. I don't care who you are. This is going to happen. The only one who could mess this up would be David Yu. Why? Because they've hit enough momentum. They're crushing it compared to any one person cannot stop this from happening. Even if like 50 people got together and decide they're going to turn super negative, you can't stop it. It's going to happen. And VeVe is going to be the biggest name in digital collectibles unless they make some really big mistakes. Most of their competitors have not been able to keep up, have not been able to create the kind of community that VeVe has created. Like, this is going to happen. And there are some things like world-ending things that could happen that will mess this all up, but that would mess up a lot of other industries. So like, it's coming together. And what can you do individually? Almost nothing. There's some things you can do like VeVeFamBam, and you can throw together a really cool Wolverine Deadpool movie showing at the bigger party, and that is awesome. But for the most part, like, you don't need to do anything. It's going to happen. And other celebrities are going to come in. They're going to be showing off their VeVe collectibles. And it's going to go way more viral and beyond any people that you feel are big in the space now. I mean, Randy and myself and Doctor will be like small fish compared to like Andre Jick and other people who really start covering it every day when the green candles come. And they'll come.
Yes, they will.
Hi, Fam Bam. Thank you so much for coming.
Bam, good to see you.
You do. How's your head?
Oh yeah. You guys want to see? So it stitches
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
right? Like let's see.
Oh, that looks great.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
yeah, you gotta look real close.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That
You
looks
know, if
fantastic.
you put a little diagonal thing in there, you could have a nice little Harry Potter scar.
Mhm.
Well, so the doctor was stitching me up, right? And I was like, "Hey, doc, is there any chance you can kind of try to make that like a lightning bolt?" And I was kind of like saying it jokingly, right? But he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Fine." I was like, "Well, like there goes your tip," you know.
But
And he didn't think either one of those things was funny.
I thought it was funny.
but you can see how the way it's slanted, he can spell out VeVe.
Yeah,
Gotta get hit like 6 more times.
I'll be VeVe Zombie, right? Like
There you go.
I would take that for the actual real VeVe Zombie. So I guess yeah, but that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil. That is fair. So,
Yo.
What's up, VeVe Zombie?
What a
The-
stud! Oh my
We
god,
should get him on the stream.
meeting him in real life. What a rock star! What a seriously
Good.
cool guy. He's
Yeah.
the one who helped me. For those who saw that post, when I did that post after Trump had spoken at the Bitcoin conference, and then I made that post where it was like Trump talking about like I'm like, oh, it's just like had to replay what I'd recorded off Trump speaking, and he was just like, you know, we're gonna buy all the OMI. Some people call it OMI. I call it OMI. You know, like anyways, he helped me do that. It was a lot of fun.
That was
Gotta
so
do one for the
funny.
fishes still.
Love the peaches. So anyway, FamBam, there was a post the other day from Animoca Brands, and they haven't made some of the best business decisions as of late, but one of them, I think, was announcing a partnership with Lamborghini. I don't know if they had this in the plans for years or if they saw the success of what we did with VeVe and they decided to hop on that train. But they said together we'll drive the digital vehicle culture forward to shape the future of brand engagement and automotive history. They said the Motiverse is in on it. I think there's 2 types of people here, or I guess 3. Lambo fans that like Lambo, but they won't care about the NFTs.
Mhm.
There are Lambo fans that will care and they'll keep an eye on it, but they won't necessarily get it right away. And then there are ones that'll be like, I will figure this out on how to get it. And I guess a subset of people that'll try to figure it out, but it might be too complicated.
Mhm.
My question is there any brand that has not launched on VeVe yet that if they launch somewhere else, you'd be like, yeah, I don't care where it is. I'm going to figure out how to get it.
Quentin Tarantino.
Ooh,
Always
That's a
gonna
good-
pick that one.
That's a very niche one.
Yes.
I would not say that would be a frequent answer.
the other thing is does it matter if brands are loyal or not? Obviously, if I'm on VeVe, I want to have drops as often as I can. VeVe won't be able to accommodate just because they have so many other clients. There's got to be a pipeline. There's got to be a list. Do we want big brands to go elsewhere as well? Like, do we let them? I don't want to say fail, but do we let them go and see like, yes, you can, but here's the consequences of that? Or do we decide, or do we try to fight it and be like, hey, probably not the best idea?
To fight other brands going to, like big brands going to other companies?
Yeah, so
How can we fight
Animoca Brands is doing it with Lamborghini, but if
Okay.
Aston Martin decided to try to do that as well,
Mhm.
is that something you'd be like, oh yeah, let them do it, or be like, that's probably a bad idea for the brand?
I would say let them do it. The more we have in this space, the better. It's going to keep pushing us forward as well.
That's a good point.
It
We
kind
had
of sucks that some of these places that have gone out of business.
yeah, DraftKings just announced they're going out, and then some other comic book app announced a few months back that they were going out as well. Doc, there is a post from VeVe that said there's a bounty still active for the Iron Man Funko Secret Rare, $40,000 bounty. Nobody has ever redeemed that yet. Should there be a campaign by VeVe or by anyone to be like, hey, let's contact Funko, let's see who all bought these, or is this something that you'd be like, I don't know, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think Funko is going to be able to track it. Hopefully not, right? Like they shouldn't know who has number 1 or whatever, you know. Like,
Or I mean, just the sales in general, so we can be like, hey, do you have this one?
Well, it's interesting. I saw multiple posts where people were like, they just took the box, like didn't even open it from the cardboard box, the shipping box, right? And just said, stick it in my attic. I'm not opening it for like a decade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it
I'd
could
be
be in
opening
there.
that.
And the crazy thing is if VeVe becomes massive, the thing is, that would mean David Yu is going to be much more wealthy, and you better believe that he's going to want that number one still, and it'll be worth more than $40,000 to him at that point. So, yeah, I don't think we see it for a long time, to be honest.
Oh,
Yeah.
Somebody's
If I
got
still
a
had
program
a
there.
sealed one, I would definitely be opening it right now since it hasn't been.
oh yeah, 100%. 100% I'd do that. Did anyone catch the D23 announcements that they had?
Nope.
I saw some. I was trying to keep up with it a little bit.
Yeah, I was so busy, man, this weekend. I mean, like getting stitches out and just trying to get back from all the different vacations and things that I had that I was like liking and retweeting some things, but I did get, so obviously they handed a D23. There was two different
Two logos, yeah.
logos that they had. And so Mr. MC1, he said something that I thought was very interesting. We know that right now Disney is very hesitant to do anything at all that looks like it could be considered a security. And what I mean by that is that they like, unless it's pre-announced, Disney themselves is not doing anything for people who are holding certain sets or anything, right?
Same thing with Marvel, I think, yeah.
Marvel's doing it. Marvel's done stuff, right? But like
right. Sorry.
But Disney has not. And so one of the things is because people paid for the golden moments, because I think that a lot of people were like, yo, golden moments, like that's where the utility is going to come in. But because they sold the golden moments thing, there's a danger there of expectation of potential profits or something like. But with this D23 logo, they said that it's, hold on, before I say anything, full disclosure, I bought one, right? I bought the special edition one, and I actually got a sub 100 mint for what was even below the floor. Someone like dropped it below the floor, and I was like, yo, I just happened to be on the app at the right time, and I was like, I'm buying that. But anyways, he was saying that could be something with the D23 logo where maybe they do offer some sort of utility because it was free. There's no expectation there. It's completely free. So there's no risk of financial loss on that, right? So anyways, very interesting. That all being said, I don't for whatever reason, I just don't see Disney doing anything with utility for a while. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love for that but man, I would love, hey Disney, if you're listening, so many other projects are doing like random like airdrops and stuff. There's a lawsuit going on right now where they're basically trying to sue the SEC to front run it, to basically say like we are allowed to do airdrops to people and that's not considered, that action would not make our token or anything like that a security. Maybe you have to wait for that to get resolved and stuff. But I mean, again, Marvel's doing this. And the thing is if you do an unannounced one, there's no expectation. There's no expectation there, right? It's actually when it's pre-announced that it actually pumps things beforehand. I would say that action is more like the expectation of profits than unannounced airdrops. And that rewards holders, man, because the people who are holding it, it was just like, oh my gosh, like I would have said I'm a fan of it, and all of a sudden I got airdropped something, So anyways.
Agreed. Just some more stats on that. Eagle had mentioned more than 330 of those Disney logos were given at D23, which makes it to be around 1,000 that were left. He also mentioned that the team will count and give to Disney, and they can decide what to do with them. They did the same thing with one of Thor's hammers, one of the Thor's posters, Secret Rare poster. I think there was supposed to be like 1,090 given out. Only a couple hundred were. And then they gave them back to Marvel. And I don't think Marvel's officially burned them yet. I think they've been a little bit slower with that. But yeah, that's the updates for right there. Outside of that, we have had some success stories with BitForex. Have any of you guys gotten funds off yet?
I didn't have anything on there.
Gotcha.
I'm still sitting at 25%. which is what you go to initially, is 25% way through the process. So it just waiting, right?
Yeah. Great. And then
I know some of my community members have gotten theirs out. One of them got 10 million out. I was like, sweet. Nice.
Slow but steady. So there is, I don't know if you guys have heard of these. One of my, anyway, there's a friend of mine that likes Stanley cups, not the hockey thing. They're called Stanley and they're drinking cups.
They're amazing.
I was so confused the first time she had mentioned that. I was like,
My wife has one. I was like, Stanley Cup, that is some amazing marketing. But
right?
she'll have it in the car for like 2 days and there will still be ice in there. I'm like, what the heck?
Wizardry, witchcraft.
Yeah.
Is this something that like we should get on VeVe? Because whenever I see something that there's this big community that I didn't know existed, I get so enthralled in it. And now I see it everywhere. And I'd totally buy one. I would totally put it in like Captain America's hands. I'd put it in that, just for fun. Or is that something like, Randy, we can't? That's like, I don't know why people buy it in general. So digital collectible, is that a little silly, or is that something that we should try to tap into?
I think you should try to tap into anything you could. I don't mind.
Yeah, you think
I was not going to pay.
You think we should tap into anything we can?
I don't think Randy has to try to tap into things. It just comes to him.
My bad.
That may be. My friend James just texted me. He got 4 million OMI back after 14 days. They were frozen, but he got 4 of them back. So shout out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, can't heckin' wait for that. Anyway, some of the stuff that they had gone for the D23, they sold out of everything that they had launched. Did you guys get any of the red metallic stuff? Iron Man or the Thanos?
No, I like first appearances better. So it's like the red Thanos. It's like, what's that?
It's con exclusive though.
Yeah.
Well, so there had been a tweet from My Collectibles basically saying that there's something with owning the all of the red ones. So that's why they've pumped. I went for the first one, which was Iron Man. I didn't get selected. And I kind of was waiting for it to drop down to about $50, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, like I'll buy one there." It never dropped down to $52, and then it pumped to $60, and I was like, "Ah." So then I went for Thor, which was kind of the bottleneck, right? Because Thor's what's the crack? OBL. That was the bottleneck, right? With 444 editions compared to 555 of the other two. Didn't get that, but then I did buy one. I flipped for like a little bit of money, like just didn't make much, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't go for it overall to collect the thing. I had Doc Ock, but the risk to me, and this is what's concerning, is I've seen other times where it's like you had to buy it off the drop to get the reward, and so I'm like, if you didn't hit all 3 off the drop, like, are you
still eligible? Yeah.
Are you still eligible? And that's like, I wasn't willing to take that risk, right? To spend basically about a little over $200 to get the full set, because I already had Doc Ock, which I also didn't get off the drop, by the way. Or I bought it off the secondary because it was cheaper than the primary market. And so, yeah, I was like, I'm just not gonna risk that, because if for whatever reason they come out and it's like, if you bought off landed on the drop and held, then you get this. It would make whatever they get exclusive, but it would definitely. I'm not willing to take that risk just in case that's what happens, because we've seen that in the past.
Also, I've seen in the past, while the market's still like slow like this, it's like if you put together things to actually get the item, it ends up being more money than if you just waited and bought the things after whatever happened. Yeah. Like this Thanos Secret Rare is a fantastic example of that.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
They had I can't find the picture of it. I know I took a picture of it. Maybe it was on my tablet. They had at D23, a King Thanos like paper cutout. And for those of you that don't know, I could do a whole video on this. King Thanos is undefeated. He's like Thanos, but like tens of thousands of years in the future. And he literally has the Hulk as a pet. he made the Ghost Rider his new herald because he couldn't defeat him. And he's like the only one in the universe that he couldn't kill. It was one of the craziest storylines that I've ever read. I hope they bring him in at some point. But yeah, and anything Thanos, I think will go up in the future. That's someone that they can bring back again and again and again. And he will be back for Secret Wars. I don't know for how long, but he will be back there. I'll keep you up.
Well, I thought that so this is a different like timeline or world, because I thought he died, right? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, this is a different timeline / world.
Yeah, in Secret Wars, what they do is Thanos has a cabal of Namor. He's got Doctor Doom. No, I don't know if Doctor Doom's in it. But there's like a group of like six like really powerful people, and they go around to different realities and they just kill Avengers, and they practice for the main like 616 universe. And when they go there, the Avengers are kind of like, they're trying, but these guys have had so much time practicing against them. And they take out the Illuminati, which is Captain America. They wiped his mind. So it's Doctor Strange, it's Reed Richards, it's Iron Man, it's like a few of them, and they just wipe them all out. And eventually the world and the incursions get so crazy that all of the universes that are still left get rolled up into one, and they go up on this one giant world called Battle World. It's ran by Doctor Doom, and then but everyone's there. It's the most insane. I won't give away any spoilers. I feel like I give away maybe a little bit of it anyway. I will lose my mind when that comes out. I can't wait.
That's wild, man. What a crazy. See, yeah, there's so much though to follow, and I don't know. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this. Like, there's so many like tangents and different worlds and storylines. Does it ever bother you that it's just like, shouldn't there be over like what is that in Loki? Right? It's like the right timeline.
Yeah, like the main one.
Yeah, the main one, and there's all these branches off and stuff. Like, I feel like that main timeline is like not super cohesive. You know, I just like how does that all come back? Because let's say that there's that branch off, and all of a sudden, so there is this King Thanos. Why doesn't he come to like the primary timeline and just freaking destroy that, right? So that he owns everything. Like I don't. Yeah, these are things that I think about where I love these stories, but like then I kind of come back to it and it's like, okay, but like how does that really impact? Why is that story relevant if really like there's no actual impact to the actual timeline, the sacred timeline? That's
yeah.
Right. Like I don't know.
I guess some people, like in the King Thanos run, it was just his universe. So he destroyed like he destroyed like most of the world, and then he's going around and like it's weird. Frank Castle is like one of the last ones like standing, and he makes like a deal like with Mephisto, with the devil, saying like I will do anything to defeat Thanos, and Mephisto's like anything. So he makes a deal with the devil, shakes hands, signs his soul over, and he becomes the new Ghost Rider. And then he does it again when Galactus comes in. Galactus is literally the eater of worlds. And he's coming to Earth. He's looking for Reed Richards. And he's saying, like, Thanos just kicked the crap out of me. Like, I need Reed Richards' help to defeat him. And he's like, and so now Frank Castle, Ghost Rider, is like, I'm all you got. So they go around and they're like trying to like rally the troops, trying to get people. Galactus lost his first herald, which was Silver Surfer. We don't know where he is. And we don't know where Thor's hammer is. We don't know where anything is. But this is all just located in one universe. So I think if they go and they get him, they could be like, oh, we'll pluck him out of this universe and we'll give him to you guys in our 616.
Interesting.
What about you, FamBam? Do you think that this is all like too hard to keep track of, or is it just like, oh, I like it?
I like it. I know some people. Who was it? A coworker of mine was just talking about wanting to watch Deadpool, the new Deadpool movie, and she was asking if she has to watch the other ones, and I was like, well, there's a little bit of stuff in there from like Loki, things like that. She's like, she starts getting all mad. I was like, well, I think it's fun. I think it's fun to like keep up and like watch them all through the whole way through and things. So.
Totally.
Some people don't like it. I do.
Same. Those are my favorites. We have a Better post from Beerman 2003 that has 327 Star Wars Episode 5 posters. That's a lot. Are you guys stacking anything right now?
Not really.
I've been buying more. Comics like Marvel. Mainly comics is like what I've been buying a lot of. I just feel like, and someone asked this earlier. They said, like, do you think that like digital comics? What did they say exactly? If I can find this here. But yeah, I'm not seeing it. But anyways, I just think that would probably be one of the easiest things for people to just like understand and place value on, because they have the physical counterpart, right? So I feel like that would be more easily and quickly adopted, which then will be awesome and more beneficial for the rest of the collectibles, as people then start to be like, okay, well, how can we value these other ones, right? Like, so yeah, I still think that in general, like, okay, did you guys see? And I didn't follow up on this, so I don't know how accurate it is, but my understanding was that an Amazing Spider-Man #1 was burned, was sent to the OMI burn wallet. Did you see that, Randy, or anyone?
When did the burn take place?
I have to go back. I can look. I can find that. But let's say, well, let's give two scenarios. Let's just say even if it didn't, right? Dan and David in the past have talked about the burning of certain collectibles. Now, the IP has to sign off on that, right? Because they lose revenue. But I think that there's a case to be made to say, listen, if we make these a little bit more exclusive, the price goes up. And as they trade, even though there's less of them, they'll actually probably trade more often because there's less of them and at a higher price. Now, figuring out what that is, right? But there can definitely be like burning, but it would have to be the IP that decides to do that and not necessarily VeVe, or there could be campaigns, something like that. But yeah, my understanding was and I did not dive into it to see if it was true, but that Amazing Spider-Man was burned. And if so, was that like a testing of, does this work, or are there any issues with that? But like, look, we know that there's like 60,000 Marvel #1s out there, which is a freaking ton. Right. And so like, could Marvel do like a campaign to maybe burn some and get like a different comic, a new comic that's coming out, like a limited one, whatever. But for me, I think that regardless, I think it's worth, like, for me, like, I'm buying more of these like OG Golden Age comics and Bronze Age, Silver Age comics are valued. I know that some of this is definitely tied to scarcity, but that's where I'm also looking at some of these really, really popular ones that also have a ton of editions out in the real world and actually have a smaller edition size in the digital world, right? And looking at some of those as well and saying, well, like, this is super popular in the physical world, but there's just so many like 9.8 grades and things like that where it's a lot more limited in the digital version of it. And so I'm going to stack some of that. So that's what I've been stacking.
I see one of them's burned out of the 60,000 Amazing Spider-Man #1s. There's one that is burned. I don't know if there's more, but it's just not reflecting on VeVe.
I think only one's been burned, but I'm wondering if that was like a test. Yo,
Cosmo,
what's up, Cosmo?
What's going on, everyone?
Hi.
We're just talking about burns, and have you kept up with the with any Marvel stuff? Any Marvel burns?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
No, I mean, the only thing I saw on Twitter was the Spider-Man #1
right?
burn.
Yeah,
but that's it. And I was like, what's going on with this? I was trying to ask people around in the community, and people weren't really like, I haven't heard any verification of what's going on with that.
Yeah. Okay, good to know.
There they are. There's the glasses.
We got those sunglasses.
Zombie, what's up?
So Sven Donjin, we know Sven. We love Sven. It's in the gold silver logo group. He goes, and he's a veterinarian. Love him. He says, seems to be a recurring theme in Fortnite where they have little hearts there, He says there's more. I asked, like, are there other examples of little hearts? Because he's thinking like there might be a vegan connection. Because, and I think where he gets this from is that usually around the time that we get things or Fortnite gets things, that we usually get them within like a month or two of each other. Now, most likely that's either Marvel or Disney or whoever saying like, oh, if we release it one place, so you have to release another place, and that's likely just them. Do you guys think there's a deeper connection there? Sven says he had other pictures like this. He just, I haven't seen them yet. Or do you think this is just us connecting dots that aren't there?
It's absolutely a connection. Fortnite is confirmed. Just kidding.
Oh, no.
Yes, I'm in.
The confidence says everything.
Yes. David pulled me to the side in San Diego.
we're gonna
He told
believe
me
you.
not to tell anyone.
Yeah, right. He didn't make you sign a non-disclosure. He just told you. He's like, shh.
And I forgot to sign it.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Oh, you forgot the DocuSign. Forgot to do the DocuSign.
I'll say though, I personally feel like there is a connection there. I could be totally wrong. Just personally, I feel like there's something being built there. We'll see though. I mean, maybe that's a fool's hope, but I don't know. I think that there is.
Yeah, I agree. There's something. I think there is something going on. It's going to, once it is announced, it'll be amazing.
I mean, if there's going to be a VeVeVerse and we have all this IP and a Disneyverse will be in Fortnite's, metaverse that they're all building, it would be stupid for them to not be connected in some way. Like, I mean, that's such a small field, like metaverses, like how many of them, are there, or how many legitimate ones are there? Like they probably should be connected, like go through a portal or whatever and you get to the other side. I don't know how they would do it. I don't know. I guess they'd have to be using the same engine, which I think they are. Or maybe it's build first and then connect later. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Rain? What are your thoughts?
Probably there's a connection there, but it's speculation, right? So it's just sometimes you look in the future and you put 2 + 2 + 2 + 2. Okay, I know what that probably adds up, and I'm probably right on exactly how those numbers add up, but I might not be. So I think that comes together. And you asked what I've been stacking. Literally, I've been stacking more OMI. I mean, 2 months ago, I put a few $1,000s more into collectibles. It's hard to really move your master collector points very much. I was trying to complete some sets and bought a bunch more comics I wanted. And I was like, even a few $1,000s like did nothing for my points overall. I was like, ah. But, OMI is just like so underpriced. I just stacked a whole bunch more of that. And I feel like collectibles sometimes hard to pick what's going to outperform. Because I like to see increase in value. That gets me excited. For whatever reason, I like things to go from very small to a whole lot, and I get excited by that. So OMI at the price it's at, I just feel like the chances that it goes up way bigger than a lot of the collectibles is probably really high. So that's what I've been stacking a ton in. And I wish I could stack a ton more, and I just don't, all my other crypto projects are cheap, and I don't believe in selling what's cheap for what's expensive, or selling what's cheap to buy something that's also cheap. Though if some other things run and OMI still stays cheap, I'd love to massively increase my OMI position by much, much, much more.
Great. I don't know if anyone follows Vincent Zerzolo over on Instagram, but he posted a photo the other day saying best caption wins egg to thaw from your. Okay, and then it's him shirtless with a chili pepper. Is that a VeVe reference? Because Alex used to post about chili peppers, or is that just no?
I think he's just being silly. I was trying to think of something to say, and I was like, I gotta pass. I can't say anything on this. I kept going.
VeVeFamBam's like, I can't keep it clean.
You two don't. I know this is a very sexual image there. Don't dox or not dox. Don't what's that called when they slash you for monetization? Don't demonetize.
Monetize, yeah.
Anyway, did you guys see the trailer for the Marvel Red Metallic ones where it looked like it was like gamified? It looked like Thor was about to fight Doc Ock, and it looked like Iron Man was about to fight Thanos. Was that just a really well made trailer, or something more?
Oh yeah, I didn't take it. I didn't put any sort of gamification from the trailer into it. I more just kind of put my collectibles comments on X where he was saying, wouldn't it be cool, right? Like if there was something more to these red collectibles. But yeah, I'm hoping there's some sort of gamification to it or something.
That's true. Doc, say anything before you bounce?
No, yeah, I just gotta obviously I gotta take my daughter to gymnastics. But like I appreciate I love these conversations, and I'll just say this, right? Like, so I went to San Diego Comic-Con and I saw the booth, and it was kind of small. And I say that comparatively as I saw like just pictures of what D23 is, but super excited to see VeVe at D23 and to see some people posted that there are some new wallets, right? Like new active wallets or something that have come, and it's not a ton, right? It's but it's something, and I loved seeing them there. And I'll tell you what, whoever landed that low mint D23 special edition just made a decent amount of money off nothing for me, from what I bought from them, right? And I think people are going to start seeing that, and like that kind of stuff draws some people in there. And look, I'm just overall again like bullish on this, and I see people dropping out left and right. Some OGs and whales that just couldn't stomach it anymore, and they're I see that they see other things, they see other projects that are doing these projects that are in narratives, and they see that and they're like, OMI's not in this narrative, or what's happening is going down, and they kind of lose faith. But like, man, I'm still there. I'm still solid. I'm still stacking OMI. And one thing I'll say too, what Rain had said, and it'll be interesting to see. I truly think that OMI will probably pump before NFTs or VeVe stuff. And if it does, then you'll be able to leverage that and be like, okay, well now I'm going to use some of this OMI to buy some NFTs. And I want to. Sorry, this is one last little thing. I've just seen a lot of people that. And maybe I need to do a whole video on this, just like talking about why people would even use OMI to NFT, and really breaking it down, because I sit there and think that a lot of people are actually going to be migrating over to Stacker and listing their collectibles on Stacker for OMI as opposed to doing it in gems. Like, I really think that that's where it's going to be, because even if I'm not selling in general, but let's say that I want to cash out some money. So then I want to sell in OMI because I don't have that 10% cash out fee with gems, right? But then maybe I don't cash out all of the OMI, and then OMI pumps, and then there's like, actually, like there's some collectibles that I've really been wanting. Oh, and by the way, it's actually on a discount in Stacker because people can still stand. Let's say the floor is $100 on a collectible. Right. Well, they have to pay a 10% cash out fee. So really, they're only getting $90 or 90 gems. Right. This isn't even taking into consideration any other like VeVe fee or IP fee. Let's just take that out because that's going to be equal no matter where you sell it. Right. So they're like, well, I could list for 97 gems or $97 worth of OMI on Stacker, and now I still get 7% back. Right. So all of a sudden, there's a discount for people who are buying an OMI. And especially if OMI goes up, right? There's this incentive. I don't know. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited. I'm grateful for people like Dr. Profit and the Stacker team, and then also Ecomi's blockchain team, which I guarantee you they have been working with Stacker on this. So I just hear all these things about where's this blockchain team, and that they're not there, and like whatever, right? Like I absolutely believe they are. So, anyways, look, fam, I appreciate you guys, and then also we have OMI is my homie that's coming up Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which then I will be showing off my Mona Electra shirt that Fro Komi sent me. I love so freaking much. So, anyways, I appreciate you, FamBam. It was so fun to actually meet you in real life, and we need to have you on. OMI is my homie again. Cosmo, you're a rock star, and Rain, love the shades. Randy, I heart you. Peace out, Dashy.
See you, Doc.
Nice.
Dashy's bigger now. Everyone comment blaze it down below for the 420 people that are here. And going back to what Cosmo said, my collectible said, wouldn't it be cool if collecting the new Marvel Reds led to something bigger? Said, yeah, that would be cool, insinuating that there is something else out there. Any speculation on that, what that could be? Is it an airdrop? Is it just something that could be gamified in the future?
Could be an airdrop. I don't know what kind. It would be red, probably. Something red. I see it.
I know. To me, it felt like it was relevant to the D23 with them dropping all these reds specifically this week. And then with D23 really mentioning that Fortnite partnership, again, to your point before, is there any connection? There has been no explicit connection at all. So this is all speculation, like Rain just said a little bit ago. But I kind of feel like there's something there to it. So that's just me, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there could be something connected to Fortnite or something like that is where I'm going with these red collectibles in my own mind.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Before you guys got here, it was just me and Doc. I had mentioned that I was getting in probably early 2026. Lindsey Sterling will likely perform for the gold and silver VeVe logo holders. Who else should we get? We have a really big network, a lot of wealth here. Who should we get to perform?
At New York Comic Con, or are you just saying in general at some point?
At a party specifically for gold and silver logo holders.
Gosh, in that.
Get Snoop. I know he's in the NFT.
That's true.
Snoop.
Eminem.
Love him too. Snoop has been so wholesome at the Olympics, just like carrying the torch and running and staring at people with those eyes.
I know who I want to perform in 2026. I want Paul Bearon versus Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'll pay to see that.
To come to the party. And that's when Paul comes, because he's like, damn, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Oh, wait, Paul will probably never admit that he was wrong.
Yeah.
But that will be the right thing to do, because, he'll end up fudded at the bottom, and OMI is dead. And I really look forward to 2025 and 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And the endless memes the community can make about Paul Bearon saying OMI is dead. And the only way he can come back from that is to come and do a, boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. Then we'll let him back in.
Yeah.
I'm down. But can we all kind of get in the ring and get one? Then we'll let him back.
VeVeFamBam's like, I want my shot at it.
Yeah, totally. I would totally get that.
No, I think that's pretty cool, though. So is that confirmed then about Lindsey Sterling?
Well, I'm speaking to her booking agent. Right? I spoke to her at her concert, before her concert, at like the Q&A that we had, and then, well, one, I asked her to come on the podcast. She's like, shoot me a DM, and like I didn't have the heart to tell her, be like, I've DM'd you 3 times already, but because obviously she gets like thousands of messages per day, if not like 10,000 messages a day. So like I didn't want to be one of those guys, just because every now and then I'll go into a message request. I'll be like, oh hey, sorry I missed your 2 years of messages. Yeah, I feel really bad about that. Anyway, so as for what I asked her about a private show, she's like, I'm not sure what I would charge. I don't know if she knows how much she charges, like if that's just itemized in her brain.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm speaking to her booking agent now. I wanted to get her for next year's New York Comic Con, and he's like, well, listen, we tend to tour in like the fall and winter, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. You're touring now, probably tour next year. If we can't do it, then we could do like early 2026 or spring of 2026. And he's like, let's keep the channel open. Let's do it. He asked a bit about like who are you? And I was like, oh, hi, my name's Randy. And then I just told him like about VeVe and the gold silver logo collectible. He's like, okay, well, this, we can figure it out. We might be able to do it for New York if we tag along to the end of like one of her tours when she's in New York or wherever she is, and we just tag along at the end. That'd be fine. But yeah, well, hell or high water. Unless something god awful happens where I'm no longer around or all of my investments just take a nosedive, it should happen. Yeah.
That's pretty dope, Randy, with the connections. That's awesome.
So yes, that would be great. Haven't been there. Empty bear market. Yeah. So people talk about diamond hands. What's the longest you've ever held something without selling, either for profit or for loss? Question goes out to all of you.
OMI. 3 years, 3.5 years.
I think same. Yeah.
So I don't really have anything. I wasn't a collector before. So
maybe Dashi, but outside of Dashi, yeah, OMI.
My kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't sell them to white
but
slavery.
had there been a market you could have sold them in.
Oh man, I've got a bunch of NFT projects that I'm in from 2021 that I've entered, and some of them have totally crashed and burned. Some of them are still alive. They're just way down, but they're still building like fantastic things. I have one from Walker World actually that a guy offered to buy the NFT from me. It's one of the more exclusive ones in the collection, but he offered me 20 grand for it. Turned him down. And I wish I hadn't turned him down now because it's definitely not worth that at the moment. So I'm still holding it.
Damn. What would the offer be now? Like, how long ago did you make that offer?
I don't know what it would be now. I could maybe get like a half an ETH for it right now. Like,
Gotcha.
so I mean, it's worth something still, but yeah.
That's still good that someone's still willing to pay half an ETH for it. That's like, that's still pretty nice. Like it's not worthless. It's still worth something.
Yeah.
And, yeah. In other words, we have VeVe Fox going in and saying a market pulse. There were 11,500 active wallets that were in July of 2024, which is pretty low. But she did say, important note, in order to make the month-over-month comparison a little more accurate and more fair, she had excluded data from the 5th of June, as it turned out the numbers were highly inflated due to the Blackpink VeVe Heart airdrop. That would have been, I don't know how many of those people are still here, or how many people are just waiting to buy. When you guys first came into VeVe, how long did it take you to buy something? Did you buy something right away, or did it take a couple months?
Something right away.
Something pretty fast.
So I wanted to see what it was all about.
Yeah, same for me. Doc and Rain had been trying to get me into VeVe for like 6 months. I was like, no way. And then finally, I downloaded it the day of the Marvel comic #1 drop and went for that drop specifically. And bought it, got a common, and I was like, I knew it. These NFTs are lame. Like my $7 is now worth $2. Oh man, I should have bought more.
Yeah.
I a lot more. I bought a bunch of those $2 ones. They were amazing.
My lady friend has been saying that she has the app, but she didn't know you could use the collectibles in AR because there was no like how to, like when you sign up, there's no like intro video. I think that for people that sign up, because it doesn't count as an active wallet if you don't have any collectibles in it. And when I signed up in February of 2021, and I didn't buy anything until a couple months later, just because I didn't. And they just didn't count that wallet until I had something in there. So I think it might behoove the company to go in and say like, hey, we'll just transfer them a certain collectible. They could be numbers, they could be letters, it could be whatever they want. Is that something that you guys would be for, or is that something to be like, Chavez, you can't just start giving stuff away for free. That's a slippery slope. If you do that, then where does that end?
I don't mind giving stuff away.
I missed the first part of the question. I was reading T-Beast OG's comment, so I totally missed the first part of it. You're saying should
I almost did too, so that's why I'm laughing.
It was should, for new signups, at least for the foreseeable future, in the short term, should people be given a collectible for free, just so that one, it counts as an active wallet, and two, so that they can use the AR?
Oh, yeah. You asked this question one time, and I totally think it's a good idea for VeVe to have some sort of collection that's just an entry collection that isn't specific to any IP or anything like that, but something that can give them a collectible, even if it's not worth like, maybe it's only worth like 5 cents or something on the actual market. But what it does is it gives something in their collection that they can do something with to just start them off in a fun way. So I'm all for it, honestly.
Yeah. So I have the two stories, like for myself, getting in VeVe for the first time, and I just bought the little pepperino because I just wanted to see what it was about, and putting that in AR is what got me hooked. And then I think giving stuff for free would work. And then with my son, Randy, you were there when we were at that first decon, and Taps he transferred him I think it's Bucky from the little Marvel Mighties, and that got him like really into it. Before, I was just using his phone for getting drops, and then it turned into his phone for drops. And yeah, so stuff like that, just getting them started. Some people aren't going to care, but there are going to be people who do.
The VeVe kid.
Kid VeVe.
Kid VeVe. The VeVe kid. He's
He
awesome.
hasn't been as active anymore because 18 and up, and he doesn't have his account anymore. Had to merge it.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can't sell this, and you can't sell.
That's rough. Do they have I haven't heard. I don't really pay attention that much to that particularly because I don't have kids. But do they have do they say anything about kids accounts? Be like, hey, we're going to be able to have them trade. Ray and Cosmo, have you guys kept up on that?
For VeVe or Cryptoys, you're saying?
For VeVe.
I haven't heard anything about kids accounts lately from VeVe.
Cryptoys does that?
It's been a while.
Cryptoys had announced a little while back that they were building technology specifically around like having kids be able to have accounts of some sort. So, which I think is a cool thing. So I think it's something that you could look at implementing something like that as well.
Cool. T-Beast OGs, we got distracted by before. It says it's too much of a coincidence. Cavernous was initially majorly funded by Epic Games. I do know they have an agreement. I don't know if they were majorly funded by them, but they do have an agreement. I think Disney buys 10% stake in Epic. VeVe almost 2 years ago announced VeVeVerse, then nothing since October 2023. Why? I think T-Beast is trying to make a connection between Cavernous, which is building the VeVeVerse, that does have a partnership with Epic. Disney bought 10% stake in Epic. This sounds like something I would say in my big conspiracy. I would just take I look like the Charlie Day, be like Pepe Silva. I don't know if anyone's seen that meme or that show. Connection?
Dude, T-Beast, you're on my same wavelength, dude. That's like, I'm thinking the same thing. I feel like there's reasons for these things happening in the background and just being quiet on it. So just because it's such a big thing that they talked about and they've been building and building and building, I think there's more to it than just building the VeVeVerse as is.
Yeah.
I think the VeVe team learned a lesson that now frustrates a lot of people, but people kept getting mad at them for missing timelines. Mm-hmm. And the reason they were missing timelines is because they were trying to be as transparent as possible when they hoped things would come together. But in development, things get delayed. I worked for a business consulting firm that did major software development for American Express and all kinds of different companies. And you would have your timelines and they would almost always get missed. Why? Because bugs come up and other things come up. So what lesson did they really learn? Well, notice how many interviews David Yu does now. Very few. When he does do interviews, he says very little. Why? Because he doesn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So with that, oh my gosh, we've had no updates on the VeVeVerse. Yes. Why? Because they would rather underpromise and overdeliver. And you're seeing that theme. That like, oh my gosh, they've got Blackpink. You find out, and it's like they've had it for 2 years, and we found out 2 years later.
Yeah.
So I think really good things are set in motion, and there's a cost to underpromising and over-delivering. And that cost feels like you don't know what's going on, and then you're surprised later. And when you make that transition from over-promising and under-delivering to under-promising and over-delivering, in the meantime, it feels like there's a lack of communication. Yep, right? So the new norm. I imagine... like one of the reasons I'm massively invested in OMI and VeVe is I really like David Yu as a leader, as a project leader. I think, while I was out at San Diego Comic-Con, I was thinking this community is incredible. And yes, some people have gotten jaded in the bear market. Like that's so normal. What is abnormal is the amount of people that are still here and still really excited about what they're doing in the middle of the bear market when the token has generally gone down for the last 3 years and collectible prices have been absolutely savage. And yet there's a ton of people that still very much believe in this project that buy almost all the drops because I think David, you created a culture that's special. And a lot of projects ask me like, how do I create what VeVe's created? It's like, I don't know. It really, I don't think probably anyone else could have created it like they did, but David Yu is so magnetic. Like you just love the guy and he's so passionate about what he's building and like he's a force to be reckoned with. And so what's funny is like a lot of times I just see patterns. After a while they become boring to me because it's so obvious what's coming together to me that it's like it's not quite predicting the future. People are like, how did you know that was coming together? It's just like, gosh, the right things were coming together. You could almost see it in motion happening. Mm-hmm. And so like when I was at Comic-Con, I was just like, I don't have enough OMI. I need more OMI. And like, I have plenty of OMI. Like I just wanted more. I was like, right things are coming together. And that's why I was saying like, this is going to happen. Somebody, David, you could stop it, but you couldn't stop it if you wanted to. Paul Barron couldn't stop it. He didn't even have a chance of stopping it. It's like all he did was half his audience when he turned against OMI. He didn't stop like this from happening, and no major crypto influencer could. Like OMI is going to happen and VeVe is going to happen unless David Yu makes a major mistake. And I don't see that happening. He's so focused on making this happen. Mm-hmm. And I just look at it and it's like, man, this is all coming together and it's going to be bigger than most people realize.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
I was talking to him a little bit today and I was like, congrats on a, amazing D23. It was a great, first time there. And I was like, I hope you can get a rest between now. I know you've been traveling a lot, doing a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna get a rest between now and Comic-Con. And it's like, I'm already back in meeting mode and I fly back to New Zealand tomorrow. I was like he's probably one of the greatest salesmen I've ever seen. And it's not that he tries, it's just that he's so passionate. And every time he talks, like, it's like Sandy listening to Gary at Poetry Night. He's like, he has such a way with words. And you just can't help but be enamored by him.
Yeah.
We're going to go for at least the next 38 minutes. But Pink Panther says, what time is the Elon and Trump interview? Then Allegro says 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you guys want to end it then? Or do you guys want to live react to that?
I've got to hop off it. I could stay on for maybe 10 minutes into it, but then I've got to hop off.
Gotcha. Okay, we could do either or. Streaming Trump interview account. Yeah, okay. We'll take a vote. We'll have a community vote in like 35 minutes. What's up, Pink Panther? How's it going?
Oh, while we're here, how did everybody like San Diego?
It was so great.
Dude,
I was just thinking about the bread.
That story was so good. Did you guys tell that story?
I feel like I don't tell
No, I don't know that we did tell that story yet.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever tell the story?
To the rescue is all I can say. That was incredible.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
One moment.
Yeah, let's tell the bread story. I feel like I haven't been telling that story correctly, partially because I wasn't really conscious. Oh, hey, fam.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. All I can say, and you can tell the story, FamBam, because you really came in clutch there.
I think you tell the story best.
It was like Doc and I are sitting, we're at Randy's Airbnb and we're chilling and there's a bunch of people there and there's this artist from DC, right, that was mentioned, and she's just kind of chilling with us, like super cool that she came to hang out, right? And she's done some pretty cool things for the DC world. And so getting towards like middle of the night or so, and she's like, yeah, do you have anything to eat or so? And Randy comes to the rescue with this like quarter loaf left of white bread. And he's like, yeah, we've got bread for you. We got some white bread for you. And she's like mortified. She's like, what? Bread? And he's like, yeah, we got bread for you. Like, I've eaten like 5 pieces today. And I to justify it, right? And she's just like, I don't eat bread. Okay, I grew up so poor, and so I do not just eat white bread anymore. Like, I worked my tail off to get where I am. So I eat bigger and better things, essentially, is what she led on to say. And Randy comes in, he's like, well, I could toast it for you. And I'm like, I'm watching this unfold all of a sudden in slow motion. I'm like, so now he's going to toast the bread. And then FamBam walks in and just like grabs a loaf of bread, wraps her arm around Randy. She's like, don't worry, honey. We got you something more than just bread. Okay, let's take the bread away, Randy. And I'm just like, FamBam, that was such a...
I didn't really hear what was going on, but I could see her face. And I was just like, ooh. You step in here for a minute.
Oh, the offer to toast the bread was just the best. I was just like, that was so good.
That was also the night when I finally decided to drink. So like I had 3 shots before we even went to the logo party, and I had more like there and everything. And so I even remember having a conversation with her outside about it, but I don't really remember everything that was said.
I feel like I was told that she, you know, was not feeling so hot. Maybe she hadn't eaten a ton, maybe a little tipsy, and the third DiGiorno pizza was in the oven because some of them got burnt before. So, you know, we had to like put another one in, but it wasn't ready yet. And I was like, I'm just thinking like, we're not going to get this deposit back if there's like this place smelling like throw up. So we got to, you know, feed her something. So I'm trying to like, let me feed her. She's like, so I didn't, all I heard was like, I don't eat white bread. And in my like drunken brain, I was like, well, if I toast it, then it'll be brown and not white. So then I was like, I could toast it for you.
I really enjoyed it. I was just sitting there reading her body language, right? And she was like so offended, like, what are you saying? I'm poor? No, my poor days were behind me. I'm like, DC artist now and everything. I don't eat white bread. And I'm like, this is so funny. I totally messaged her like 2 days later and I was like, hey, what'd I say? Something about, I saw something that made me think of you. and then I totally forgot to send her the picture with it. What is the picture of white bread?
We got to get a picture of Randy holding bread, all happy.
I will. I have bread.
That was so funny though, but it's okay, Randy. You had a lot of alcohol. I'm not surprised you weren't picking up her body language. You're like, I'll fix that for you. I'll toast it. You know.
That was one of the things I just loved it because Randy meant so well by it. Like he was there to help. Like, and he had the solution in his mind. And it was like, I've eaten 5 to 6 pieces already today. I don't see what the problem is. So good.
Yeah.
So
and then I know y'all were sitting back. Like, who was sitting on the couch? It was Dr. Stuff. Was it you, Cosmo?
Me and Doc were there on the couch.
Yeah. I don't even remember what y'all said. I think y'all were just like, "Thank you, Pam Bam. Thank you."
I was speechless. I was kind of like, I didn't know what this. I was like, "What is going on? This is amazing." Oh my goodness. I think we were trying to like agree with her because she was like going on a little bit of like, what's going on here? I was like, I don't know. This is crazy.
She was so sweet. Maybe not at that moment, but later in the night, we're just getting the music on. Like someone has like YouTube on the TV. Sleep in my bed. And you guys know that? I forget his name. He's like the big Hawaiian dude, and he sings "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," but he sings it like this.
Oh yeah, like Isaiah or Izzy or
yeah. And she had like never heard that before. I was like, oh, I felt like that one cop in Dark Knight Rises talking to the younger cop where like, you know, the lights go out in the tunnel and he goes to like his partner's like, oh, you're in for a treat tonight because he knows Batman's on his way. And I was like, oh girl, you're in for a treat tonight. And then she watched it and like she couldn't take her eyes off it and she's like, oh my god, and she was like tearing up. I was like, I know, so good, right? She was so sweet. I do love her now.
Yeah, it was a fun time. But to your question, Cam, that you asked earlier, yeah, San Diego was so fun. It was so fun hanging out with you guys. Like, it was a blast. I loved it.
Having y'all over all the time.
Yeah, that was so fun.
That's what I like. Not necessarily the party house, although it was.
Yeah, it was.
I love just action. I love like, oh, there's someone over here. There's someone over there now. Oh, there's someone outside, and it's just like having a party with all of like the people that are, I don't know, that you see, or I guess don't see, but we interact with online, and I see them in person. Like, oh, is this real? How did this happen? We all in the same location.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people that play video games and they're always on the same team, but they don't really see each other for years, and then they finally see each other. They're like, oh my god, it's you.
Yeah, and then some of them you've kind of met, but haven't got to know them very well, and then you just get to know them more, and it was fun. It was definitely fun. Good times.
I know. So we're all going to New York, right? New York Comic Con.
Yes, sir.
Already got my tickets.
Oh, Dan, they were asking about Dan. Dan actually was at New York Comic Con. So the only one I know he wasn't at was San Diego.
Yeah,
probably
and he had to be
because it was probably the same trip. David probably never went back home after that. After San Diego.
He did not. He went to the Asian Bloc Summit, and then he went back to California for D23, and then he's going to be either on a plane right now or he will be tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be in New York.
Yeah. Dan ain't missing New York. That's
Sweet.
I will come
Yes,
out.
sleeping.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sleeping.
Yes.
We love you, Sleeping. We need your opinion, Sleeping.
I heard Trump is your BFF, Sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I join
David
your
actually
stream,
just
Sleeping?
Oh yeah.
Let him all join his stream.
David E says thank you to all the fans that made it, or the fams that made it out to D23 weekend. About Disney and Magic and Party. Love that man. Anyway, I don't know if he'll pump anything. Yeah, so I came back from somewhere, and you guys are just like, "Yo, Trump endorsed OMI," and I was like, "I know there's no heckin' way." And then I guess you guys made something with AI.
Doc, yeah.
That's what Dr. Steph was talking about.
I was taking a nap on the couch while he was working on it. Woke up and it's all done, and has Donald Trump saying something about OMI. It was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, VeVe Zombie helped Doc put that together in FamBam. Yeah, that was good.
So Magic came in and posted, running into Josh D'Amaro, who's the chairman of Disney Experiences, and had a conversation about VeVe Official, and she said it was hands down the highlight of her D23. I don't think she would have posted that unless they had a decent conversation about VeVe. I think she had mentioned that he knew, obviously, of VeVe and just asked how the booth was going. She didn't really give much detail around that. Any speculation on that?
Wasn't listening.
I'm sure Disney is very aware of VeVe, right? This ongoing revenue thing is such a big deal, like out of collectibles. And you asked earlier about Lamborghini and should they allow licensors to go moonlight with other companies? Well, first of all, the question is, could they stop them even if they wanted to? Number two, is that the right choice to make? No, let them try these other platforms, right? And you've seen that some of these companies like DC has done some things on other platforms and stuff too. And unfortunately for DC, when they did the license deal with VeVe, they didn't even think about recurring revenues and the kind of recurring revenues they could have had on a lot of these DC collectibles. And but I think Disney really gets it. Marvel gave an exclusive for their comics on VeVe. Like, that is such a big deal. And I think Disney and Marvel are loving these recurring revenues. Every time things change hand again, they get paid again. I think their mind is just going like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever, because they wish they could make resale money every time one of their original Cinderella VHS tapes sold, but they can't. They don't get anything. They made the one-time sale and then it's done. They're out of it. So this idea of digital collectibles, I think, is blowing their mind. They're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And the really good brands, and I don't blame Lamborghini. Maybe they've come to VeVe and they're like, how can we sell more Lamborghinis through VeVe? And it's like, you're kind of tapped out for now. We got to get to other licensors. We've done a bunch. And they're like, crap. Maybe we can go somewhere else and get some more Lamborghinis out there because this thing's great. Probably is what happened.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think from my point of view on that question about Magic's conversation with the Disney exec was, I hope for her sake that she got some cool alpha. I took it more as like, knowing that VeVe Magic is such a Disney fan, I'm sure it was just amazing to be able to talk to somebody at that level and to be able to have a conversation in general about VeVe. And that's kind of how I see how the conversation might have gone in my mind, is that it was more high level stuff about VeVe and just the interaction and how they feel about VeVe and their partnership so far. And like Rain mentioned, basically, I'm sure they're very pleased with what's going on overall with it, which is cool if that's the case, and that if that's how the conversation went, that would be cool in and of itself to hear from such a high level exec from Disney.
Great. David's ears must have been ringing. He commented on VeVe Magic's photo just now, saying that he is the big cheese. So that was fun. Thought about the
Interesting.
The big cheese. Yeah. Shout out to you, David, if you're listening. We had Squid Cat post about, in partnership with Superstar Money, the Gold Dragon Club gave away a stay at Walt Disney World Old Key West Resort. And there's Real Video Shane, the winner of the insane prize. This is like, it's a 7-day stay there with like everything included, amenities. This is like a $7,000.
Yeah, he's a new local VeVe fam. That's the one I just found out that he was here in Phoenix. Remember we met him at the airport too. We ran into him at the airport.
Yeah, we met a lot of people at the airport. It was good times.
Yeah.
That was the.
I'm excited for him.
I don't know if any other, maybe it's not Mr. MC1 is doing the VeVe Gold logo, but they've been doing insane giveaways. They've been trying to do a bunch of stuff with burns. Do you guys know any other type of like fandom within VeVe that's doing something like that? That's doing these types of giveaways?
Let's see. Well, I don't know if they've been doing anything, but I'm aware that there is a secret rare comic group within, I think it's in Facebook or something. I got invited to it a long time ago, and I haven't really paid attention to if they've done anything with that. Any other groups you guys have heard of within like fandoms or anything?
Not that's doing types of burns like that and type of, you know, those giveaways like that. I mean, again, Mr. MC1 does it all the time with his parties, but that type of thing, outside of those two, I really don't know any other groups that are doing that.
Yeah, I don't know of any.
We might be able to do a competition where, and obviously it'll have to be consensual between all parties of, okay, because if we're doing OMI burns, and I asked this of Foster last week when me and Rain and Dr. Stuff at the OMI is My Homie show, is Stacker and OMI to NFT going to be restricted the same way that VeVe people are with saying like, oh, you can't buy something more than like 5x the floor unless it's a special mint, because then you get like your account can be restricted. And he said no, you'll be able to do really whatever you want. And I guess that's how we can kind of do giveaways. You can go in and sell something for $1 worth of OMI, whatever, and that's, you know, that'll be a fun giveaway. But we can do it the opposite way. We're saying, hey, you can choose to buy this for an insane amount, and this way you get to burn. And we can do that whether it's karaoke, we can do it whether it's like a GeoGuessr type of video game, charades. Any ideas on how to have like community burns?
Wait a minute, we talked about this before. Oh, the parties.
What, like raffles?
Have a logo. You can burn this much OMI.
Yeah, I can see like charity things like being raised, kind of like how VeVe Queen did, basically. So I can see things like that come up where people are like doing burns for charity, like if you raise so much or something to that effect.
That's a good call.
That's a good question. I haven't thought too deeply on that.
I think a lot of focus is on like token burns, and like that was when I was new in crypto 2017, that was like a really big thing through 2021, and VeVe launched in that period of 2018. So it's like token burns were like the biggest thing, but it's like it's just a gimmick. Like it's like if they use that money to build a bigger, better company, like OMI can perform well that way too. So it's like, I don't really spend much time thinking about different OMI burns. Are they helpful for the OMI tokens? Yes. Could that money also be used to like fund other cool things, right? It's just kind of a way of donating to like because there's less tokens in supply, the value of the tokens that are remaining is more. And it's like, it's a cool gimmick. If people want to create that, I am not against it. I don't put any time in thinking about that. And OMI as a company or a Komi or VeVe, like putting a ton of time in that. I'm glad they're doing it through Stacker, which is cool because it was one of their initial things they wanted to do back in 2018 when it was a real big deal. So it's cool they're delivering on that promise. But like, I don't know. I used to have a totally different opinion on burns. I'm like, they're the best thing ever. And now I'm just kind of indifferent to them.
Really? One of the things that I thought looked really familiar the D23 event night that they had was one of their Fortnite adaptations that they haven't given us too much info on, but it was called Fortnite Villains.
Yeah.
Play Vile in Style. Doesn't that villains look really, really familiar? Because we have some of those villains over on VeVe. We don't have like the big epic statues yet of like Jafar or Cruella, but we do have the smaller ones on VeVe.
I could be wrong on it. I think it's kind of like a brand within Disney that they've done. And so that Disney villains, that same lettering and everything is congruent to wherever they use that. I think there was a Disney villains TV show So then Disney villains on VeVe, Disney villains on Fortnite. So I think they're going to use that same kind of lettering and same graphics wherever they use that, because it seems to be kind of its own little mini brand within Disney. That's how I took it. But I mean, that's just one of those extra things where I was just like, the wheels are turning. Like, is there this connection with Fortnite potentially being built in the background? Like, there's a lot of connections that VeVe can make with all this Disney IP. And especially that exec's kind of announcements when he introduced the whole idea of Fortnite and the streaming and everything, and said there's so much more coming where you can build using the Disney IP with it. And I'm just like, he could be referencing like different use cases for VeVe digital collectibles. Who knows? We'll find out.
Yeah.
Talk dirty to me, Cosmo. Oh my God, I love you. Get so excited when you talk.
Right? I mean, who knows? It's all speculation.
It's true. Something that is not. Sorry, go ahead, Pam.
I said, but it's fun. I love speculating.
Yeah, me too.
Something that is not speculation. We have Brock McBlockchain.
Oh, he froze.
Oh, we lost audio right at blockchain.
There
you are.
There we go.
We got you back.
Had to reset that Wi-Fi real quick. Brock McBlockchain says snapshot on VeVe official is in T-minus 2 days, and this was earlier today, so maybe 36 hours from now. Says have all the fish from the Fishly Underworld collection and get the secret rare, then you can have a new friend to enjoy. Do y'all have the new fish drop that he just did?
I got one.
Yeah, I didn't go for those. I didn't go for them. They're pretty cool looking though, especially the bioluminescent look.
Yeah.
And then he burned them.
I know he burned. Oh, so now like
Yeah, that's
they're
right.
like, really hard to get. So now the secret rare is going to be so scarce.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he does really good things for the community, and it's like I wish I should have known, should have got him, but that is it. Somebody asked before, where's Jordan? And Jordan's just doing some diversification stuff. He's just trying to branch out a little bit. So he's no longer going to do the around the Komiverse show. He'll do other stuff. Like he hasn't quit concentrating. We all do wish him the best of luck though in everything that he does.
You know, I'll just add something real quick because I feel like I owe this to him just from a longtime listener of that show. Is that was one of my favorite shows. Watching about Ecomi, it was one of the most interesting ones. I loved it, coming week in and week out. So thanks for putting that on, Jordan. We appreciate it. Love the time that you gave to the community on that specifically. So I wish you all the best, man.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed. This is, let's be honest, you said would have died after 6 months if crypto people were not in, and the reason they're going strong for them, let's not forget that fact. Yeah, I mean, Web3 peeps definitely got in.
Can we say it's a mutually beneficial arrangement, right? So it's like a combination of two things. I don't think David actually forgets that ever. If you've met him and talked to him, that is actually always completely present in his mind. He's just so happy that people are believing in his vision that he's creating and seeing it come together. Like he's on fire. Like he's so excited. And what's so crazy is his humility and gratitude. And at the same time, if they didn't have the leadership that they have, we wouldn't have like stuck around. Right. So it's been a mutually beneficial thing of like, yeah, I am still around and invested because I believe in the leadership and what they've created has been great. And I think what they're going to continue to do is great. And so selfishly, I'm just acting selfishly here. I'm massively invested in VeVe and the OMI token. And so that's why I'm there. But I don't think David in particular ever forgets that part of it. And he's grateful that so many people have believed in his vision.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's very humble. So if you were to be around him and even ask about it, there's no way. He doesn't forget any of this stuff. He's so grateful for all of us just being here and just.
It's so true. Like I met him at DCon, a year and a half ago or so, and we had worn O'Malley T's shirt. Shout out to O'Malley T. And we asked him and the team to sign it. And so like Rain, Doc, one of our other buddies, Crypto Cashflow's there with these shirts, and he's just like admiring it. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I got to get a picture of this on my phone." And he's just like, just so cool to the community. It was just like, and he had already done like pics like that with a ton of other people, and it was just like every new person, he just gives them their own experience. It's pretty impressive.
We love him. It's great. There is someone that I'm trying to get out that I'll try to get on the podcast, and let me know what type of audience would be best for him. I'm gonna go to a function on Friday. Andrew Yang is going to be there. He's a former presidential candidate, and I think he tried to run for governor, and I don't think that did not work out. I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention to him or too much, and what the best approach would be to try to get people, like powerful people, on VeVe.
I think powerful people are going to come to VeVe. It's going to create its own momentum. All they can do is keep getting the best intellectual property out there. And Bitcoin, when it breaks 100,000, it's going to wake a lot of people up to crypto. And a lot of people have in their mind the wrong argument. Like, I talked to a really smart person. I had him on my channel like 4 weeks ago. And he's friends with Tai Lopez, and Tai Lopez did a crypto course in 2017, made like $10 million or something selling the crypto course. And Tai Lopez doesn't really get crypto. He made a ton of money selling a crypto course. And so when I was talking to him, he's like, oh yeah, but which cryptocurrency is going to be used and stuff? And what if some other country creates a cryptocurrency? I was like, he doesn't get it at all. That crypto is a funding mechanism for early stage businesses. And blockchain combined with cryptographic encryption is unlocking things the internet couldn't do before. He's missing the whole argument. The argument is no longer, the argument back in 2015 was which cryptocurrency is going to get used. In our day, it's, okay, this is a funding mechanism for these different projects. So what is the chance that the token behind it does well if the project then does well? And so he doesn't even understand the argument at all. And a lot of people are locked in that. And the guy's very smart. And he actually consults to a hedge fund on their purchases they make. And he's missing the bigger argument completely. But what happens is Bitcoin then breaks a new high and people say, oh my gosh, I must have misunderstood what's going on. And then they open their mind back up to, what am I missing here? Mm-hmm. Like Cosmo knew about crypto. And I was talking to him in 2019 and 2020.
2017 even.
Yeah.
And he had a little bit of experience. I'll dabble. And then it didn't go great for me. And I was like, nope, I'm out.
He's like, oh, don't talk to me about crypto again. This is like 2019. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's okay. Change the subject. And that's kind of what the conversation with this guy was. And I was like, he isn't getting it. But what happens is then a bunch of green candles come. And they're like, oh, I must have misunderstood some things. So let me revisit it. And then they use their intelligence with an open mind. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is much bigger than I realized. And then new money comes in from new people, which creates even bigger green candles. And more people open their mind and like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing. And then these people hear about this idea of digital collectibles. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, there's this company out there that has Disney and they have Marvel and Marvel comics, like digital versions of Marvel comics. And you can buy like Marvel #1 and you can buy the Amazing Spider-Man #1. And it's only $100 for the Amazing Spider-Man #1 comic. Oh my gosh. What? I'm going to buy 10 of them, and then the price goes to 500 and then it goes to 1,000. And you have celebrities showing off how many of XYZ that they have. But all that happens once Bitcoin crosses a threshold or other crypto really takes off. And then people start to chase green candles. Yeah. And so what's funny is it's as simple as this. You buy when it's boring, right? You buy projects with a really good narrative when their price action is boring. And guess what? We continue to lose people who have invested in the OMI token because the price action is so boring, which is an amazing buy time and is the effing most terrible sell time. And yet people get this wrong over and over and over again. And they chase into what's hot. Do not chase into what's hot. You buy what will be hot when it's very boring. Well, how do you know what will be hot? Educated guesses. Okay, we're talking about these things that could come together with Fortnite. Whether or not that even comes together, digital collectibles is going to be a huge thing, and VeVe's outpositioned over every other thing, every other company, in something that is going to become one of the biggest narratives in the future. Now, do I know for certain it's going to become the biggest narrative in 2024 or 2025? No. But I don't see why it's not going to happen in that time frame as everyone wakes up to crypto again, and it happens every 4 years. People grab on this idea of digital collectibles. So even if digital collectibles doesn't become a major narrative, crypto in general, all the boats are going to rise in that tide. So OMI still does well. If digital collectibles hits its own narrative, and I think it will, VeVe and OMI do tremendously well. So people asked earlier, what's my upside prediction on OMI? I think if it doesn't go very well at all and we just have a general bull market, then OMI does like 20x, maybe 30x. I think the digital collectibles narrative hits. I think we have a bunch of celebrities jumping in, and Andre Jick, who has a great audience and very smart guy, starts showing off more because he has a lot of VeVe collectibles. And he starts showing them off more. Because the truth is, when you have a YouTube channel and you're constantly talking about cool things that are way down right now that are going to go up in the future, nobody watches those videos. Almost nobody. That's what I cover all the time. I don't have an audience like Andre Jick. It's really risky for someone like Andre Jick with a large audience to cover what the price action is while it's really boring and say it's going to be good in the future. You'll lose a huge chunk of your audience that has no vision, because most people have no vision. Mm-hmm. And then so if you wait till it's going crazy, then you cover it, then you'll get tons and tons and tons of views. So that's what some of these celebrities who are even invested in VeVe collectibles now and even OMI are going to wait for. And there's a lot more celebrities that have these collectibles than people realize, and more will come in. And that's when they'll really be talking about it, and it will create its own momentum.
I do remember back in 2021, 22, there were some celebrities that I remember. One woman, I can't remember her name, but she had a Wonder Woman by her fireplace and she tweeted it, and, and so like, I think VeVe retweeted it. And there's other people too. Like, there's people in there we don't know about.
And we'll see a lot more on this next wave, right? Because Bored Ape Yacht Club took a whole bunch of the momentum. Cool. Bored Apes were really cool, and it became a really big thing, and it kind of proved that model out. But this augmented reality thing, the implications of it haven't come together yet, but they're set up for it. The quality 3D images that we have, the quality on that is so high. It's perfectly set up for the future, be integrated into augmented reality and even metaverses. And so I think VeVe collectibles are going to be a really big deal in the future. And I think this coming bull run, it hits a narrative and it takes off. And even if it doesn't, then OMI will probably still do 30x in that case, which, okay, darn, that's terrible. It only went 30x.
Oh no, what a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So that would still be around all-time highs. It'd be nice. There was part of the reason why I really like VeVe is because it's super easy to use. It's super safe. It was 1 year ago today when Gian FR NFT had a couple 100,000 followers that said, "I'm in tears right now. I just discovered my wallet got drained overnight. My captain, my Cubs, my Azuki, my Great, my ETH, everything that was valuable." And he says, "Worse, this wasn't because I signed anything, but instead someone who directly from my wallet accepted the bids and then transferred the funds to a fresh new wallet." That sounds all insanely scary and confusing, and it's just super easy on VeVe. You don't have to worry about that. It's not something that happens. I don't know, that makes it easy for people. Makes them
I know
feel safe.
Getting on VeVe, it was easy, quick. I was addicted right away. But then when it came to OpenSea, I was more hesitant. I didn't understand it. It took me, gosh, was it a year? I don't remember when I first I just remember I was watching the Super Bowl. So it was in February. So it must have been almost a year later where I was just like, you know what? I'm going to test this. I want to try to just buy something on OpenSea and test it out. Now I have all kinds of junk on there. Not junk, great stuff. Great stuff from great people. But yeah, but with VeVe, I jumped right in. There was no hesitation, no nothing. So there's all these new people, there are going to be others that are like that. They're more hesitant. But it's easy.
Honestly, just like yesterday, I believe that what Yuga Labs is building with the Other Side Metaverse is going to be a pretty big thing in the future. They're building, and it's just getting flooded like crazy. But just to your point, Randy, like I was in their Discord just yesterday, and just a guy just came in, and he's just like, "Oh my gosh, I just lost all my Other Side land. Like it just got stolen from a transaction I signed. It's all gone. Bunch of my other NFTs just all gone." And it's just like, those are painful stories, and it happens just over and over again in Web3, unfortunately. So VeVe, I mean, it's kind of nice. Like with its pros and cons, there's pros and cons to everything, but it is nice that we're not losing any of our NFTs on a regular basis, or people aren't losing them regularly on VeVe.
Preach. Yeah, it sucks to hear stories like that, but at the same time, it's a little comforting. Like, oh, okay, well, I have VeVe. It's not going to happen to me. There is I don't know if I should. Oh yeah, I'll go over that another time. I'll tell y'all later about that. Moving on here, we have. I mentioned this stuff before about the D23 logos. I feel like I've been monopolizing all the questions. Do y'all have any questions for the rest of us before we move on or before we head off? I'm going for almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bow out before the whole live stream of the Trump Elon Musk interview. I don't know, Cosmo, VeVeFamBam, it's so good to have you guys on and just some additional, points of view. But if you guys don't know Cosmo is effing brilliant. Okay, it took me a while to convince him to come into crypto, but I knew he'd be so good in here because his mind is effing brilliant. And so finally, when he decided to come into crypto, he like dove all the way in. And so sometimes like I call him and I ask him his opinion on things. I'm like, dang, I think you're right. So well reasoned. And he always has really good reasoning behind it. And that's what I look for. I look for people that not only have like this idea, but then when you ask them why, it's like he goes through all these different points. I'm like, that adds up. Crap. Okay, I had money allocated to other things. Let me move some around to there too. Smart. Thank you. I hate you, and I'm grateful at the same time because I'm like, I think you're right on that.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks. You and Doc have taught me a ton, and especially I learned a ton on the early days, especially from you. So appreciate it.
And he brings great breakfasts.
Yeah, that's right. Came in with the McDonald's breakfast burritos during San Diego Comic-Con.
VeVeFamBam can be bribed with food.
Yes.
Same. All right. So that I have a VeVe deal I have to make. So I'm going to bounce as well. Thank you all. Class dismissed. Everyone say goodbye to Dashi. Dashi will have Dashi will be on a plane. I'll talk to you all for 1 minute after we end it here. So I'll end it here. So I know we all gotta go. I love you guys. Thank you all for joining. Bye.